Don't mean to brag or don't mean to boast, but you could tell from my approach that I'm the third eye coach. I'm the third eye coach. Greetings, y'all. Back with another one. I'm back with another one because I'm a little upset at my people, man. I'm kind of like done pretty much with making videos like this. Simply because our people just make it so difficult to be able to get through to, and it's just like a waste of time to the ones that it's difficult to get through to. Not my people that get this information. And it only take one person in the world to get the information for it not to be a total waste. So there's way, way, way more of us who don't get it that weighs heavily on a scale of my that will imbalance the scale and make a person like myself stay away from just trying to tell people anything. But the struggle continues with my people trying to just speak on stuff like they know stuff, but it's all done through a system of belief. All they got to do is just keep talking. The more they talk, the more they're going to contradict whatever their point is. And the proof is I got so many different ways to prove what I mean. One of the ways that's going to be in the title of this video is the way people struggle to make sense of basic reality, basic ethnicity, just basic background, like struggling to just make sense of basic reality, basic bloodline, basic lineage. You know what I'm saying? Where you really come from. And I see a lot of people who really don't deserve to know where they come from. If you a grown person, you're a grown adult, and you still haven't hit the nail on the head. Like it was, you technically don't deserve to know where you come from. You technically deserve to struggle with everything that you don't understand, because you under the emotions of understanding so much is causing you to sound crazy. It's causing you to sound silly in a grown folks body. And I'm gonna just say get straight to the point. I see a lot of videos of people who descend, like people who look like myself and people who think they don't look like myself. The people who think they look like myself are obviously so-called African Americans, black, Negro, colored, all of the narrative, the fake narrative stuff. And then the people who have a tendency to think that they're not like us, to think that they aren't us, and we have a tendency to even think that they're white, and that's your Latinos, your Mexicans, Spanish people. I'm gonna get on both of y'all. Because they got a lot of us making videos about those people. They got a video. What's up, boo-boo? You want to come out of there? Let me zip you out right quick. They got a lot of people who want to make videos about the Latinos. Like a lot of my people want to make videos about the Latinos. And they're a little bit closer to making a point and referencing the absolute truth. But the Latinos, Y'all so far away, and why? I'm gonna tell y'all why y'all so far away. Cause I got a ear. I got word through the videos, through the social media posts that you guys all of a sudden African Americans because of what you think Afro Latino. Where do you think the term Afro Latino come from? Which in actuality, you just contradicting yourself. You're wrong twice. You're wrong 3 times simply because you don't descend from, like, they got blacks, so-called blacks in North America that don't come from Africa. So how are you gonna be a descendant from Africa? You guys are descendants of Olmecs. Olmecs. Again, Olmecs. I'm gonna give you that spelling. And I'm going to say it as many times as I need to say it, and I'm going to spell it as many times as I need to say it within the contents of this video. But it's Olmecs. You guys, Latino, North Americans, North Americans, South Americans, Central Americans, the Caribbeans, y'all descend from what you call the Olmecs. Olmecs. I go straight to the comments in addition to listening to the confusion, and I don't see in none of the comments. Now, I'm not going to, sometimes I go through all the comments, but depending on how many comments there are, I don't go through all of them. Because I just don't have the time to sit and listen to you fight and uppercut yourself and knock yourself out. TKO yourself in the fight of trying to figuring out where you come from. And as grown adults, that's why I made an NFT a long time ago, and I call it Tall Infants. I think I even call it Tall Ass Infants. Because there's no way for you to be a person in a grown folks form, in a grown adult body form, and not know that you truly don't descend from none of this that you say you descend from. You technically descend from the Olmecs. The Olmecs are, like, if you Latino, Spanish, Mexican, you are a hybrid of, the hybrids of Olmecs are Aztecs and Mayans, Latinos, Spanish people, the ones that speak the Spanish language that has L, that the most important word in the Spanish language is L, E-L. My people, black people, so-called black, African American, Negro, color, they struggle with the meaning of L. So, it's unnecessary, especially for a, yay, Ruby, going off, huh? Cutie. But anytime I know Spanish people, I work with a bunch of immigrants in this little temp job. They from Venezuela, Honduras. I work with a bunch of Haitians that speak multiple languages. They bilingual, trilingual. They speak Spanish, French, a little bit of broken English. And I asked a Spanish dude named Jose. That's one of the most famous names in the Latina community. And he just don't understand, man. They speak L. It's in the language. It's one of the most important words that is used, and they don't understand the importance of how that's the most important word in the Spanish language. And why it's important? It's important simply because the Olmecs is one of the many Elohims. The first 2 letters in Elohim is L. That's where L descends from. It comes from. It derives from. Because L is the, whether it's THE or whether it's THEE, the. I declare thee. I declare to be a self, thyself, the self that proclaims the existence of self. And then you have the plural aspect of the whole, where the L comes from. The plural word that L comes from is Elohim. Again, the plural word that L comes from, EL comes from, is Elohim. Elohim is ELOHEEM. That's plural. The first four letters of Elohim is Elo, ELOH. That's singular. So Elohim is plural, Elo is singular, and EL is the first two letters of the plural and singular form. And people who, it's like, you don't deserve to know what you deserve to struggle if you don't know these things. Just computers, research, the ability to research through computers and having a browser, having access to browsers, has been around too long for people to struggle with. And it's not the ability to be able to read, because obviously we could all read well enough to be able to sit down and put things together. So it's an ego thing. What it really is, it's ego. People have a narcissistic energy crisis, ego crisis, in its energy, because the E in ego stands for energy. So it's a narcissistic energy ego crisis. There's a crisis within every individual who believes to know. Because that within itself don't make sense. Like you can't believe and know at the same time, but you can only believe in what you don't know. So you're not doing the research that the Creator gave you the power to be able to thoroughly do. But you're putting so much of your information, so much of your business on social media. Nobody needs to know that you're struggling. The masses of people are struggling. If I was the masses, I would stay off of social media until I'm absolutely doing everything totally different than what I was taught to do. If you're doing bits and pieces and snippets of what you've been taught through colonization, through man's made government, and you should have the sense to be able to filter out and know the difference between what is and what isn't his government, what came after he came and what was already here before he came, then there's no excuse for you to not be able to have filtered out and sift through what is man-made and what is God-made. What is made by man-made government versus what's made by the Creator. Again, what is made by the man-made colonized government, and what's organically made by the Creator? What's naturally made by the Creator? What's the difference between the two? If you stay off of social media simply because you're putting yourself out there, unless you go and pull that video down, unless you go and delete those videos you putting out there, you're putting yourself out there, and you're gonna feel crazy in the interim. You're gonna feel like you're gonna feel some type of way, like they say. It's only a matter of time before you feel some type of way, before you find out that none of the stuff you put out to address the situations ever address the situation, because you basically didn't interpret things correctly. You didn't go down the rabbit hole to the seed of the information. You didn't go deep enough to the seed. You only went deep enough to get to the root. And the root is where we always want to go. We always want to go to the root of the problem when we try to get serious about something. But it's everything is a trick. Because if you stop at the root and you don't go further enough to make sure that the seed was there first before, how can a root be created? How can you get a plant without a seed? You don't get plant from roots, you get a plant from a seed. But if you go into the root of the problem and you stop there, you're not doing nothing but just putting yourself on blast for people who truly, truly understand and understand and is trying to help you. Like you look a fool in their eyes. You look like a circus clown in their eyes. And that's why I don't make videos all the time, because I know the truth. The truth comes from the seed of all things. The organic truth comes from the organic seed. The organic truth comes from the organic natural seed. The natural truth comes from a seed. It don't come from the root. All of that's technology, and it's colonized technology to play you out of being able to get to the inception point. And it's all a trick. And it's up to you to dissect yourself before you put yourself out there. So now you got all of these videos. You got all of this stuff that's on YouTube. And, you know, from my black people to my Latino people, you know, I'm truly going to get on both of you guys, because it's not making sense what you're doing. You know, it's not making sense at all. It's not making no kind of sense. I see the purpose behind what you're trying to do, but it's until you do it correctly and you do it from the seed and you go down to the seed of the problem instead of the root of the problem, you're gonna leave something out and you're gonna make yourself look foolish. So again, Latinos, y'all need to cut it out. Y'all not Afro-Latinos, because we not African Americans. Shit, we don't even say we American African, because all of that's colonized. How can we be any of that when there was people already here in North America, in South America, in Central America? We didn't have to be brought from nowhere like Africa, because we were already here. So how can an immigrant ever exist if you technically didn't come from outside of where you already are today? And if you already are inside of North America, if you already are inside of Central America and South America, that means you were already there. Your descendants were there already. You can't be from Africa and there at the same time, simultaneously, just like it can't be daylight and night on the same rooftop simultaneously. You can't be right and wrong at the same time. You can't believe and know at the same time. It's one or the other. So please stop the crap. Stop the circus. Stop clowning yourself. A clown is a reptilian. A clown is truly a reptilian. In a circus, a clown is a reptilian. Why you think he got the line above and below his eyes, face painted? Because that's symbolic of the reptilian slit. Reptilians have slits. They are reptilians. Why you think Prince was so out of his mind, like terrified of clowns? He wouldn't even perform unless all of the clowns was out of the venue. They're reptilians. Stop being a clown in these circus. And another point that I wanted to make, there's a S. If you don't take what I'm saying, if you need a little bit more proof, go pull up an SF, like San Francisco, SF181 form. Why does that exist? Because what I'm trying to tell you is, it's been in a private. They've been trying to keep it in the private, and it's been successful. They have been very successful at doing so, but now is the time to pull everything out into the public. Everything has to be made public. And there's a SF 181 form, San Francisco 181. It's an ethnicity form. Why does that exist? And why does it give you the option to choose what you're going to classify yourself as? If you give me a second, I'm going to give you the substantial evidence that things like that exist. Again, just like Latino people in so-called black people, you're not African American. I'm gonna say, just to keep it 100, a very small percentage of us came from Africa. 4 to maybe 8% of us came from Africa. The other 96% to like 92%, we were already here, like I said a second ago. So I don't touch upon the African thing, period, like talking about it, because it's really insignificant as to who we really are. The chances of finding the descendants of some of us that are really from the 4 to 8% that did come from Africa is irrelevant. It's very slim. But this brother, I'm gonna put this brother on blast simply because we can't keep doing this. We can't keep doing this. I'm gonna show you why we can't keep doing this.
181 form.
All right. I want to show you this. It says here, American Indian and Alaska Native. A person having origin in any of Ruby. Chill out, booby. Give me a second. Get that second, booby. I'm trying to say something very important right now. A person having origin in any of the original peoples of North and South America, including Central America, and who maintains tribal affiliation and community attachment. There, next to that, you would check if you claim that, which you should, American Indian or Alaska Native. Okay, then they have the other options: Asian, Black, African American, which the average person that's still on the African diaspora that thinks slavery, they only think of slavery, and they don't think of who built the pyramids and the mounds and what were those people called, would check that. They would check that. Like 99% of my people would check that. And then on the list you have Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islanders. And right up underneath that you have white. Now, most of you will be like, why in the hell would he check white? It's because next to white, the definition on that says a person having origin in any of the original peoples of Europe, the Middle East, or North Africa. Only because when you think about what it's actually saying and what is being said, is that you are a person having origin in any of the original peoples of Europe. Because what was Europe today wasn't always Europe. What was the Middle East of today wasn't always the Middle East. And what was North Africa of today wasn't always North Africa. There's mounds and pyramids all over the earth. So at one point in time, Europe, North Africa in the Middle East wasn't what you call it today. So only because of that, you check white. I wouldn't check white because just here is enough definition for me to just let that classify who I am. Okay, but technically, to make sure that they get the narrative, my narrative, and I'm the one that's controlling the narrative, and I'm not going off of their history. This is our story. I'm gonna make sure they get the fact that none of this has gone over my head. So I might check white along with this. But because of the definition in its meaning. But you see that there's a list: American Indian, or Alaska Native, Asian, Black, or African American, Native Hawaiian, or other Pacific Islanders, and white. That brother checked those two things, but then when you go a little further, he's showing you this. Completely irrelevant. I didn't even have to fast forward it because he goes straight into it.
And here
it's already public information, so
attachments.
So look, everything in each paragraph has to do with acknowledging Africa. But he didn't acknowledge Africa in the form. The confusion must stop. Like you just undone. Like you took yourself out of the jurisdiction when you sent in the form, when you filled out the form, but you put yourself right back in the jurisdiction when you sent this along with the form. Whereas, man, we gotta stop. We gotta stop. Why would you do that? Whereas millions of Africans and descendants, why would you do that? Like this is why we need to chill from trying to play this game. Because if you're not gonna play chess the way that this game has been designed to be played on us, then you fall right back into being a self-inflicted, like you self-inflicted and being a victim on yourself. Like you're intelligent enough to know that, okay, I need to claim my nationality, but you're not intelligent enough to like go to the seed of how you really do it. You're going to the root of how you do it. You're gonna leave something undone. You're gonna contradict yourself at some point, like this man is doing. So Africa here, Africa there. Whereas millions of Africans, whereas slavery in America resembles no other form, as Africans were captured, whereas Africans forced into slavery, whereas enslaved you know what I'm saying? Whereas the system of slavery and like the people who build mounds and pyramids weren't never slaves. It's two different people, two different brown people that you're referencing. And when you fail to realize that, you do this type of stuff on YouTube and social media. I hope y'all was able to see everything. Because when you're recording live, you can't flip the camera to the other side. But we gotta stop this. If those people wanted to, what's up, boo boo? Oh, she not whining. She up in there. She's in there with you. Why she doing that?
Because I'm telling her to get that the carrot out of her mouth because it can, like, you know.
Let me see.
The carrot. She's spitting.
Yeah, he telling you right, boo boo. Don't get upset. You shouldn't be biting on that. Don't bite on that. You want a snack? Let me give my baby a snack. But yeah, we gotta stop this. Then people then you're gonna wonder why you sitting in a concentration camp. Because you're gonna be sent this type of information to the draconian government, and they're gonna use it against you. They're documenting everything that they document everything that you file, and if you don't file it correctly, they're gonna use it against you. Here, Ruby. They're gonna use it against you. And you ain't gonna have nobody to blame but yourself when you're sitting inside a concentration camp trying to figure out, why am I still going through this when I sent off my forms? Because you didn't send off nothing but, how they say it, frivolous paperwork. You didn't do it correctly because you don't know the necessary things to do. Like, if you fill out this SF181 form, San Francisco, it doesn't stand for San Francisco. I'm just using that as an example of how to find the form, but it's SF1. If you fill out this SF181 form correctly, you won't even have to do a UCC. UCC is basically their paperwork, is their game. I wouldn't do that anyway. I wouldn't do any of that because all of that's crap. That's bull crap. UCC, none of this existed before colonization, but if you're gonna do it correctly. Best thing to do is to just don't play the paper game with them anyway in the first place. So don't be sitting there wondering why you sitting in a concentration camp, why you going, why you being subjected to, them having, like, controlling the narrative over you. You know what I'm saying? When you creating these problems for yourself. And the corporate fiction of all caps on a birth certificate, it ties into all of this. It ties into all of this. I've been trying to tell my people for the longest, but I'm just sitting back watching the revolution. It's not being televised properly. They said it would never be televised, but it's being televised at a very minimum. It's being televised very incorrectly at a bare minimum. And my people, y'all struggling to televise it correctly. If you're gonna televise it correctly. Just like they say, if you're gonna tell a story, tell a whole story. Y'all not telling the whole story. Y'all telling partial bits and pieces of the story. When you look at her face, she don't have a warrior in the world. She let out a type of sound that make you think that she's in stress. She going through something. But when you look at her face, she got a pleasant expression. But yeah, I'm like, all of the people, there's so much confusion out here, and it's being done on purpose to separate who's who. Because a tribal individual, a tribal, like, brother and sister that knows everything about their birthright, they're not going to be confused. Especially in the public on social media. They may be a little bit confused on their own time, at home, behind closed doors, until they get it all the way correct. But they're not going to put themselves on blast like this, because the only way we're going to be able to free ourselves is to be absolutely true about how to reverse the spell that has been flipped on to us through the written tradition. Shout out to Rod Hayes, breaking down that written tradition and that oral tradition. But the spell that's been flipped on us through the written tradition, it has to be reversed in the oral tradition. They're not gonna put those kind of videos out until they know by facts, absolute facts, that they know what they're talking about. So we gotta stop. Like the government, COINTELPRO, all of this stuff has been put together by COINTELPRO to separate who's truly tribal people with tribal affiliations versus the people who just want to they want to affiliate with just for clout, just for some purpose of having some kind of clout, sounding like they know what they're talking about, misleading the people who do follow them all along. Like you gotta stop. Stay out of just stay on the side. Stay on the bench. Stay on the bench until you really ready to enter the game, because they playing chess while you get in the game and you're not quite ready. You playing checkers. You're gonna sell a whole team out because you think you ready to get in the game. Just think about it. You think coach ain't gonna pull you if you get in the game and you go to playing like you didn't play in practice. You played like perfect in practice, I guess. But when you get in the game, you get the butterflies. You get what I'm saying? You get a brain freeze. Not gonna let you stay in the game like that. He putting you in the game of chess, but you get brain freeze and go to playing checkers. You're not ready. You're gonna get pulled. Coach gonna pull you out, sit you down. You might not ever get back in the game again. So you need to be right. You need to be ready. Be ready so you could stay ready. You don't have to get ready. But all of you coming on trying to break down, I understand it's important to you, but you got to understand too, you making a fool out of yourself if you don't know how to research, if you don't know where you really come from, if you struggling with basic reality, basic lineage, like basic ancestral origin, basic ancestral inception, like where you really come from. This is not that hard. It's not that hard. Anything the colonizers gave you, you should be used to just getting away from all of that by now. If the white man got anything to do with saying it, you should not be referencing none of that. Period. There was no African Olmecs. There was no black Olmecs. It wasn't necessary to put that in front of what's already overstood, what's already definite, like a definite article. It wasn't necessary. And you letting them run game on you, it's easy to do. You know what I'm saying? But this black stuff, it's just like the Jesus stuff. Like, why are we so obsessed with calling on such a name when that name didn't exist? That name didn't exist in the Old Testament. Matter of fact, there was no J words nowhere in the Old Testament. Go look in the Old Testament. His name was Yahshua. When you pronounce the J the correct way, Yahshua is Joshua. There was no John, no Jacob, no Jerusalem, no Jesus. It was Yahshua. But our people, they just something about our people, man. Like, you are not going to break these chains until you mentally go deep, till you go down in the rabbit hole. You got to go back to Mother Nature's seed to break the mental chains, the psychological tricks The technology. This is all tricks. Trick or treat. Trick cereal. I'm gonna say this and I'm about to go. The hybrids are the Olmecs, are the Latinos, the Mexican, the Spanish, mutants. You hybrids, really, but you really like you so being you so being victimized. You're being victimized by the hybrid in being a hybrid to the point where like you mutating you mutated. Like you hybrids of the Olmecs. There's no reason for y'all to not know that, which makes y'all not you just like we better than Black, African American, Negro, and colored. Y'all are better than Mexican. You better than Spanish. You better than Latino. Y'all better than all of that. But because you don't know that you descend from the Olmecs, you come off racist because you just don't know what you're supposed to know. And there's no excuse for that. You're not a child. You could talk, you could walk, and you could read. You only got like a year before you could talk and walk. Any infant that come out of the womb, and you got like another year before you really start being able to read, so you can read along with being able to talk and walk. But now you ain't got no excuse to be able to like figure this out and not be able to figure this out. It's no excuse. The hybrids, y'all gotta chill out. Light-skinned people who, just because they think they light-skinned, there's no excuse for you not to know that light skin come from a light-skinned hybrid, Latino, Spanish, Mexican, Asians, anything pale, anything light-skinned, anything that doesn't have the original carbon skin tone, copper skin tone. Y'all come from somebody that built a mound in a pyramid. Somebody who was already here, a dark tint, copper skin tone, brown, infused with the photosynthesis of the sun. Y'all come from the brown seed. Y'all come from the ground seed. The ground that you plant seeds in ain't even white. The ground that you plant seeds in, the earth that you plant seeds in is brown. You think it's a coincidence that the skin is brown too? Everything's supposed to be brown because it's alive. The ground, the earth is alive. And that's why it's brown. It's brown because the earth is alive. The dirt is alive. The soil is alive. When you plant a seed, inside of the seed is alive. So when you put two things that's alive together, it's carbon. We are carbonated beings. And everything that's alive is jam-packed with carbon. We infuse with the photosynthesis of the sun. That's what makes us alive. That's what makes us carbonated. That's what makes us 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. That's what makes us the 666, which ain't no 666. It's not nothing that no jealous, genetically envious, genetically inferior synthetic race of people can make you think against 6 protons. How can you think against 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons? That's like thinking against the periodic table. That's like I say, they didn't turn you against the periodic table. They didn't turn you against, but you drinking water. You're drinking water. You're drinking a hydrogen atom and 2 oxygen atoms. Which makes water. But you didn't turn you against the it didn't turn you against the periodic table, but you're drinking water. You didn't turn you against 6 protons, 6 neutrons, 6 electrons. Got you thinking it's the devil when it's just carbon 12, but you're drinking water. Make it make sense, my people. Like, stop letting them separate y'all from being into, like, the Anunnaki, the most civilized, first civilized organic natural beings on this planet that civilized they butts. Stop letting them play with y'all. Man, y'all got to play the chess back. It's time to play chess back. Stop this. Just like I'm about to stop this. I'm about to cut this off like now. Please like, share, and subscribe. They call me the third eye coach, which is really your first eye. You know what I'm saying? For a reason. I'm the third eye coach, which is really your first eye. Like, share, subscribe, my people. If you're really, really kind of like, because I got so much more to say, but I'm not gonna beg my people to go subscribe and like, share, and comment my content. I'm just not gonna do it. I done got through to a few people already, and if that's all I ever get through, I'm good with that. It ain't meant for me to get through to everybody, because nature is nature. If I'm gonna naturally get through who I'm gonna naturally get through to, in an amount of numbers that I'm gonna get through to them. So if you want some information, comment on it. I'll allow you to comment. Like, I like the fact that if you comment and you know what I'm saying, you got a question, that'll give me a subject to come back and say more and give back more in the form of knowledge. And if we're gonna organically grow, that's the best way to do it. So whoever this resonate with, I see you in the comments. I'll see you later. I'll see you soon. Peace.